This is
not your friend.
This is an evil mastermind, wicked strategist visionary that hijacked his way into your brain and heart using an evil formula to mass produce viral hits. In fact, it is so evil and effective that it turned this boring idea into a viral masterpiece with no fancy editing. But it follows such deep and subtle psychology that even the smallest thing is taken into consideration.
Like, I think about even how fonts communicate to people. Like, I changed my font from being somewhat more corporate to something that's like so normal, that's just on everyone's computer, and it just feels more like me.
And it all starts with a purpose. But you probably won't understand this unless I tell you about his video structure. Well, all opening hooks of his videos appeal to our thoughts or experiences, and this is what he means by realism. It does not mean just lowering the production quality, but actually addressing what we experience in real life.
Even like off camera, on a human level, we crave those like real emotions, real conversations. And so that was a huge like turning point to me to realize like, I'm a human being.
And this is what you should get through your head. The algorithm only shows you what you want, and as humans, we crave for connection. In fact, if you check all of his viral videos, they all focus on building connection using characters. And it doesn't matter if that character is a human.
This is Daniel. He's my scuba instructor, my bellboy, my room service.
Or an NPC from a game.
On day 3, I met a guy named Kevin. Definitely not an NPC because
But before he does all of that, he sets rules or steps to video to keep the viewer on their toes, and he introduces them right around here.
All right, the clock is ticking. Here are the rules.
Now, if you can't see that there is a pattern here, you should probably start paying attention because it's about to get even more interesting from here. This part right here only serves as a context, plus one of the most important elements for a video to succeed, tension. And since he already triggered one of the following emotions, being intentional with it is important because that's what leads to a greater payoff, or as they say, the reward. To explain it in simpler terms, the hook is giving context, and the bait is that emotional connection. With that, let's move on to actually maintaining that retention without using fancy effects.
Doing all of these effects, you're doing all these fun things, to an extent maybe doing what we would call the retention editing, like trying to ensure that people were engaged in it. But I think it got to a point where it's like, you chose to abandon that a little bit and just mostly focus on make sure the story or the fundamental content is there.
Definitely. Yeah, we actually saw our attention go up.
And to create that fundamental /core story, you will have to start with the Harmon circle.
It's like circle. Circle, one of the most important tools to learn storytelling, yes.
A person or like a character starts in like a natural state, like Ryan will start in his bedroom, okay? And then he goes on some quest and encounters some obstacle. And then he responds to that obstacle, whether like a win or a loss, and then he returns to his normal state, being a changed person.
All right, guys. 50 seconds left. It's been an amazing journey. I've made a lot of friends along the way. Do I deeply regret buying an Apple Vision Pro? That's for you to decide. No, it's not. It's really not. It's actually my personal opinion. I just don't know how I feel about it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's like the most simplified version.
Yeah.
Now let's add some spice to make this more interesting. After providing us with the context for the story, he first starts off with establishing the characters.
All right, so Nima is our driver.
By doing this, he creates familiarity when we see them later. For example, Nima appears as a stranger, then becomes more close to Ryan later down the video, and he foreshadows this right here.
I have a feeling I'm gonna get more rides with Nima because he's like the only person on that app. And guess what? Nima alert! Hey Nima! Nima's picking me up, and it was unfortunately not Nima. And there's only one person in the world that I would want to pick me up. Nima. Nima does not.
And there are many more characters he interacts with, but I'm not going to go into detail with that. The next thing he does is visually representing time elapsing by pinning a timer every time he starts a quest. And these continue to appear even while he's in the middle of it. This helps in creating tension and constantly reminding the viewer how much time is left. But the most controversial thing he does is pacing. We know retention hacks usually require constant motion and fast-paced editing, but Ryan contrasts speedy editing with calmer moments.
We are approaching our goal of 50 hours at a very rapid pace. Just kidding, I feel like I'm moving at the speed of molasses. It's a weird feeling to watch back your own memories and feel like you missed out on them. Like at first I thought this was really cool to watch, but then I started to feel kind of sad.
Now you get my point. We all have been too immersed in this retention editing dilemma to compensate for the lack of a good story/script. But this type of pacing gives us time to enjoy the video with him. And to further hook us, he establishes recurring habits.
Oh, Nima, thank you. My lucky day.
By repeating certain visual cues, Ryan creates familiarity. In this case, it was with Nima. Every time he finished a challenge, he called Nima and received a chocolate, then moved on to another challenge. This creates a pattern that helps the audience anticipate your next move, and when you break it, you keep them on their toes to try and figure what the next pattern is. But what truly makes his video shine is the ending, and that's where you finally get that moment of realization, or what I call the purpose of the video. But for that to work, what comes a few minutes before it determines how big the payoff is.
Because even though I was there and all this just happened, I don't even feel like I really experienced this stuff. And some of these moments are just too precious for that.
Ryan is almost reaching the end of his journey with the Vision Pro, but then he looks back at it and starts to have some lingering feelings on some of those memories that he made. And this reflects on us. So we question our own place and how this technology changes how we will interact with each other in the future. This makes us emotionally attached to the video even more and creates that anticipation phase for the payoff, wanting to know more about what he realized. But if the video was so serious from the start, we wouldn't have stuck around until the end, and it wouldn't be a Ryan Trahan video. That's why adding these moments of awkwardness...
So long, Apple Watch. I'll just put them in the cabinet for now,
makes his videos way better. And I know this might sound silly, but it just works. But now, what truly makes this video a masterpiece is this plot twist. The video ends on Ryan checking his phone, realizing that only a second passed, and what he experienced was just fake, and none of it was real. Now I just told you what makes him, but...
People don't click, they don't watch.